Welcome to the All the Wiser podcast. Here we believe your journey toward wisdom and wellness takes place in your heart and in your mind. If you're committed to grow, you have arrived at the right place to enhance your mental, emotional, and spiritual wellness. So welcome. Partake in the pursuit of wisdom with us here at All the Wiser. All the Wiser family, welcome back. I want to know, what are you thinking? How are you thinking? What are you feeling? And how are you feeling? I hope that this podcast, these sessions that we partake in on the weekly basis, influence the way you think, influence the way you feel, and hopefully thereby influence the way you live. My name is William Boyd here with the All the Wiser podcast. And you guys, we did take a break, a pause between season 2 and season 3. And during that time, it gave me the optimal opportunity to rest, relax, and reflect. And what that space and what that time allows me to do more times than not is to think and ideate. And I kind of had a meta conscious moment where I was thinking about what I was thinking about. And so that was the inspiration for today's session. If you will, please, before we dive in, take a moment and share this content. Our podcast is found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the most popular platforms. And then we're going to be introducing what we have done and what we are doing to new platforms pretty soon. And I'll be sharing more information about that. But please, at this juncture, at this moment, please share. We want to expose this potent content to as many listeners and as many audience members as possible, because we believe that these sessions are, they have the potential to be incredibly impactful. So thank you guys for doing that. I really appreciate it. Now, I was taking a break. I like to watch documentaries, or what I call faux documentaries. They're about historical events, but the way they retell them or dramatize, did I say that right? Dramatize them. It makes it questionable for me. But I love this History Channel show called The Food That Built America. Have you all heard of this show? I know it can be streamed on Hulu. I'm sure it comes on cable all the time. But the episodes retell the competitive stories between renowned companies like Pizza Hut and Domino's, or McDonald's and Burger King. And to me, the dramatizations are corny and laughable. And so part of my amusement with it is not just the actual information or the story they're trying to tell, but the way they tell, and the acting is subpar for me. It's very mid. But what I extract from it are these valuable lessons about how businesses come up with creative ideas to differentiate their services and then quickly execute on those ideas to strengthen their market share. They even tell the stories between Stouffer's and Swanson's, right? The frozen meal companies. And they are both in some ways delivering the same things, but the way they deliver their service, or a piece of technology that they adopt into their process, all of a sudden makes them stand out from another company that either came before them or is trying to do the same thing as them in the market. And so I was thinking about this and reflecting upon how that particular piece, that innovation, the drive to ideate and execute, is salient for us. Many of our listeners here are content creators. We're business owners. We aspire to be one or both. And I'll think about how many people indulge in the allure of ideation and creative thinking without converting those ideas into innovation. So I want to challenge all of us to go beyond ideation into innovation. Now, you may be thinking that those things are one in the same. Actually, you may be asking, what's the difference between innovation and ideation? How I see it is this. Creativity or ideation is thinking of new things, but innovation is actually doing new things. There is a space in between the thinking and the doing. The difference is also the space between ideation and innovation. Now, I have a relational axiom that I think it parallels or is also relevant to what we're talking about here. And it says, people don't benefit from the love you feel for them. They benefit from the love you show them. And similarly to ideas and creative thinking, the world may not benefit from the ideas you come up with in your head. They will benefit from the ideas that you execute and bring to life. And I believe every person listening was strategically placed into your life for a specific reason. And here's what I mean by placed into your life. Your family of origin, your education, your exposures, your unique agitations all direct you toward the problems you are here to solve or the existing things that you are here to make improvements upon. Now, I think this is an apt moment to take a pause because I can hear and estimate that some of you all are saying, listen, I have great ideas, but I don't have the money. I don't know the people. I don't have the education. I don't have the experience needed to bring what I have floating around in my head to life. I understand you and I hear you, but here's my response, because if you think you have to have the perfect conditions to begin innovating, I want you to think again, think twice, second guess that notion in your head. You don't need the perfect storm and the perfect conditions to bring to life these ideas from ideation to innovation. You see, desperation can be the incubator for innovation. Sometimes, I'll put it like this. Sometimes seeing the gap between your preferred future and your perceived lack of resources demands you figure out how to make it happen. Let me give you an example. I was watching an interview between comedian Kevin Hart and multi-hyphenate hip hop artist Jay-Z. And during the interview, he referenced how the creation of his independent record label Rockefeller came about. And so Rockefeller, for those who are not privy to the glory days of Rockefeller, you had Jay-Z, Memphis Bleak, Beanie Siegel, Freeway, Petey Petey, formerly of another name, but it was, a little more palatable. Petey Petey, and many other artists. I may be forgetting Emil, maybe, female rapper. There were a lot of rappers on that stable, on that roster, but the label came about in response to Jay-Z being rejected by major labels when they were shopping him as the artist and his album around to major record companies. So he was going to have meetings with the companies and they didn't see or envision him as a star that their company could make money off of. And so as a desperation response, I'll say, as a ingenious way of pushing forward and not letting rejection snuff out the dream, they decided to start their own Rockefeller. And so he and his partners, Dame Dash and Kareem Burke, that is what they did. They didn't envision creating their own company from the onset, but the resistance and the rejection they were getting in the market demanded that they get creative. They had to innovate and produce something new in order to push their vision forward. So here we are now. We can look back in hindsight, and the rejection that they faced thrusted one of the greatest hip hop artists of all time to create a platform for himself and a stable of other artists, many of whom I named just a minute ago, that ended up leaving an indelible mark on hip hop in the late 90s and early 2000s. I want you all to see, just wanted to give that illustration that you may have wonderful ideas floating around in your head. You may even volley those ideas with other individuals, hopefully trusted counsel that can hear you out and give you some suggestions. But I don't want you to stop there. Find whatever you need to find within you, whether it's passion, curiosity, tenacity, perseverance, whatever you need to draw from within yourself to transmute your ideas into innovation. I want to encourage you to do that today. And it won't be overnight, and it likely won't be very quick. But what I want to do as we close out is just talk about a couple of ways or adjustments you can make that will be helpful as you make that transition. If you can choose or identify one really solid, strong idea that you think could be dynamic and change the life of yourself, perhaps the people in your immediate sphere of influence and even beyond, I want you to get that in your mind. And let's talk about a couple things I think you could consider implementing or considering in your life that may help you make that transition. So for starters, embrace the inevitability of failure. Failure is scary, but failure is also informative. So we can look at the same thing and choose the vantage point from which we look at failure. We can decide, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine the embarrassment and shame I would experience if I tried and put myself on Front Street and it didn't work out. But you can look at the same failure and decide to turn or pivot to another angle and choose a different vantage point and say, I can't imagine the lessons that I'll learn, the people that I'll meet, the skills that I'll develop from trying and failing. Those skills and experiences and the relationships I build would never come to be if I simply left it in my mind or if I simply stuck to reading books. It's the action that I take that gets me in connection with those resources. And then I have a decision to make. I can decide whether the failure that I experience is the end or the beginning of something new. So don't let doubtful, fearful ideas snuff out your creative ideas. I also want to encourage you guys to consider the impact of accountability. Consider how you can begin to hold yourself personally accountable and allow people in your life to be accountability partners. And for those who are married or in committed relationships, your partner may be a great place to start in regards to finding accountability partners. You can also try to get in community with other people who are ideating and pursuing dreams, who are also creating things. That's why masterminds are so powerful. Find people, trusted advisors or peers who can listen to, document what you are expressing your dream or your vision is, and then they can come alongside you and hold you accountable along every step of the way. Here's the key. And this is a challenge sometimes with creatives, and me as a business person, I love this portion of process and creation, but for others, it may be a bit challenging, and that is quantifying your progress. It is difficult to allow or ask someone to hold you accountable when there's nothing quantifiable about what you're trying to do. How do you know when you're making progress, right? If you're creating a retail business, did you start off with 2 sales this month? Well, 3 months from now, can you get to 20? And if that is the next step you want to make, how can someone come alongside you and hold you accountable when they meet you again? They said, okay, cool. Last month it was 2. This month it's what? What are we looking at? Is it 10? Is it 15? Great. You're making progress. What do we need to do to go from 10, 15 to 20 next month? That's what that looks like. And allowing that accountability partner to inquire about and help you evaluate both the lag measures and lead measures, both the results, the larger results that you don't influence directly, as well as the smaller results that you can influence and affect every single day. That's what I mean by lag measures versus lead measures. So accountability, guys, both allowing people outside of yourself to hold you accountable and being personally accountable to yourself. recognizing there are going to be days when I'm tired. There are going to be days when I'm confused. There are going to be days when the idea seemed much sweeter and grander in my head. But now that I've taken the first 3 steps, this is harder than I thought. Acknowledge that. Continue to move forward and hold yourself accountable. Hold on to your why. What is your why? Why do you think that this idea can bring about positive impact, positive change for yourself and other people? Hold on to that. Be tethered to that through the whole process. So just a couple of things I wanted to suggest to you guys. Embrace failure, embrace the lessons that you can extract from failure, and resist the temptation to be paralyzed by failure. And then also create a system of accountability, both internally, personally, and through social interactions. So in conclusion, guys, thank you so much for listening and tuning in. I hope that this may inspire some people to take heart, to courageously step forward and acknowledge that this idea that's been pestering you and following you, it's been woven in and out of your dreams. You think about it when you wake up in the morning. You think about it when you rest your head at night. If this idea just won't leave you alone, it's because you're not supposed to leave it alone. Now is the time. Now is the time to take what you have come up with in your mind and convert it from ideation to innovation. Now is the time to take that idea from solely having a soul and giving it flesh, giving it bones, giving it skin so it can come to life. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope and pray this has been incredibly helpful and educational and inspirational. And as I mentioned before, and I will mention again, you guys, these sessions are an opportunity for me to provide to you what's been given to me initially. And so it's helping me. It's impacting my life positively. I hope it impacts your life positively. And let's get it out to others to whom I believe this is also intended for. So share this content. Feel free to send it around, text it, post it, and like and subscribe on the platforms, because on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, we all know the algorithms work in a way in which the better the ratings, the higher the impressions, listens, views, the easier it will be to find our platform so we can continue to grow here at All the Wiser. I pray many blessings over you all. I hope and pray that what is in your mind comes to be in reality. You guys take care, and we'll talk again soon. Is this content planting seeds of wisdom in your life? Is this challenging you to examine the lens through which you view the world? Well, come on, y'all. If it's good to you, be good to someone else and share this content. This is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other platforms online. So we encourage you all to spread the word, sow the seeds far and wide. We at All the Wiser want to be as helpful as possible to many, many other hungry folks, much like yourself. Spread the word. We appreciate you. Much love.